In a small village in Canada, winter arrives very softly. There's no noise, no rush. Everything seems to slow down, making way for a deep quiet that covers everything. The small roads are covered in white snow, and the soft light of early morning peeks through the bare trees, making a scene that's both peaceful and magical. Snow falls gently, covering everything with a soft white blanket. The air is cold, but the whole world seems calm and peaceful. Every snowflake that falls helps quiet all sounds, making even the smallest noise clearer. Trees, rooftops, and fences are all covered in thick snow, creating a beautiful, pure, and quiet winter picture. The houses are far apart, with warm yellow lights shining through frosted windows. In that quiet place, an old man lives alone in a small wooden house. The flickering light from an oil lamp reflects on the old wooden walls, making it feel cozy in the cold winter. The old man is used to being alone, but he doesn't feel sad because the quiet here is like a close friend, always with him through the years. His house is simple but strong, good enough to block the wind and keep out the snow. The roof is covered with thick snow, and icicles hang from the eaves, sparkling under the weak light of the winter sun. Inside, the small house is warmed by a wood stove, and the smell of burning wood fills the air, bringing back memories of old winters when the whole family gathered around telling stories. Smoke slowly rises from the chimney, a sign that someone is home, warm inside. The whole village is also quiet. Thin wisps of smoke mix with the cold air, forming white streaks floating against the gray sky. It's a sign of life, of warmth and human connection in the cold winter. In winter, everyone stays inside. The village roads are empty, and the fields are covered with untouched snow. Only the sound of the wind and light footsteps on the snow break the quiet. Sometimes a lost sparrow's chirp can be heard somewhere, like a reminder that life goes on, even if everything seems to be sleeping under the thick snow. It's the season of quiet, where all sounds are gentle and all movements are slow. The wind blows through the trees, carrying tiny snowflakes, creating gentle dances in the air. Each day passes, and time seems to stretch longer, allowing people to feel more deeply the peace and simple beauty of life in the countryside. For the old man, this quiet isn't strange. It's a close friend. He has lived here through many winters, learning to love the peace and slow pace of the long days. Every morning, he sits by the window, sipping hot tea, quietly watching the snow fall outside. For him, winter isn't just a time of cold. It's also a chance to think, to remember old memories, and to fully feel his connection to his homeland. In that quiet, he finds simple joy, peace in his soul, and a deep love for the simple life in the small Canadian village. Every morning, the old man woke up early. It had become a habit he couldn't live without, like a quiet body clock waking him up in the cold Canadian winter night. Even before the sun came up, he would open his eyes, seeing the pale light through the curtains. This light was soft and gentle, sneaking through the frosty window, letting him know a new day was starting. In the room, the air was still a bit chilly, and his breath looked like thin smoke in the weak light. But the bed was warm and soft, like a comforting hug, keeping him there a little longer with the warmth of the night before. He lay still for a bit, listening to the quiet outside. It was so quiet that he could hear the soft wind over the roof, the silent snow falling on the ground, and even his own slow heartbeat. After resting for a moment, he sat up and put on his thick wool slippers. The old slippers were warm and had been with him through many cold winters, like a close friend he couldn't do without. He walked gently, not rushing. Every move was slow and careful, as if he was enjoying each peaceful moment of the morning, not wanting to lose anything precious. He pulled back the curtains and looked out the window. Snow was still falling, each flake spinning in the air, gently landing on the roof and garden, covering everything in a fresh white blanket. The world outside was like a quiet painting, with only white and soft light. The world outside was softly lit by the morning light. He walked into his small kitchen and poured water into the kettle. The familiar kitchen, with its simple things, made him feel safe and at home every morning. As the water started to boil, he stood by the window, watching the snow fall. Steam from the kettle rose, mixing with the cold air, making thin mist float in the kitchen. He quietly watched each snowflake, feeling the slow movement of time. He smiled at the beauty of winter, feeling lucky to see it every day. For him, every morning was a gift, a chance to feel alive, even in the smallest things. The peace of the morning filled his heart. Soon, the kettle whistled, a familiar sound telling him it was time to start a new day. The sound of the kettle was like a gentle background song for the quiet morning. He made tea, choosing his favorite mug. It was a mug with a small chip, but it had been with him for many years, like a keepsake from time. He sat down at the kitchen table, holding the warm teacup with both hands. The warmth from the tea spread, chasing away the remaining chill in the room, giving him a feeling of comfort and peace. The new day began quietly, with only the sound of tea pouring and the ticking of the old clock. Every sound became clear, as if reminding him to cherish every moment of this simple yet meaningful life. Every morning, a cup of tea was the old man's first comfort. When the first light of day was still dim, he was used to sitting quietly by the window, holding his warm cup. That was the moment he felt peace most clearly, when everything outside was still quiet in the early winter morning. He liked the simple taste of tea, the warmth spreading through him, chasing away the cold outside. Each sip of tea was like a gentle reminder that no matter how harsh the weather, just a little warmth made everything feel better. Sometimes he added a little honey, enjoying the gentle sweetness. That sweetness not only softened the bitterness of the tea, but also reminded him of his childhood, when his mother also often made tea with honey on the coldest days. While sipping tea, he watched the world outside change with each layer of snow. He breathed slowly, feeling the cold air sneak through the window, and then realized that each day brought its own beauty, even if it was just silent snowflakes or light reflecting on the ice. In silence, he only heard the sound of water dripping from melting icicles and birds chirping in the distance. These sounds were like a gentle soundtrack to the morning, making him feel lucky to live in this quiet nature. Those small sounds were so precious, reminding him that life still gently flows, even in the middle of winter. Even though it was cold outside, life continued. Small birds still looked for food, and snow still fell steadily, like a greeting from nature. After finishing his tea, he put on a thick sweater and checked the fireplace. That was an essential habit, helping him feel safe that the house would always be warm, despite the cold wind outside. He added more wood if needed, keeping the house warm. The crackling sound of burning wood in the fireplace was like a lullaby, making the space feel even more cozy and familiar. The smell of burning wood mixed with the scent of tea, making the house even more pleasant. It was the smell of peace, of unhurried winter days, where everything happened slowly and simply. He loved these routines. Though small, they brought him joy. Each repeated action was like a ritual, helping him feel the value of each moment in life more clearly. Each step was familiar, starting another peaceful day. For him, happiness was not something grand, but rather the simple things that repeated every day: a hot cup of tea, a warm home, and the quiet of winter outside the window. These were small but lasting joys, helping him feel complete in this big world. When the morning light came, the old man walked around his house. He checked each window to make sure no cold air was sneaking in. He looked at the front door and up at the roof to see if too much snow had piled up. If there was a lot of snow, he'd put on his boots and gently clear the steps. He did things slowly, without rushing. He liked these simple tasks, feeling the cold on his face and hearing the snow crunch under his feet. These small things helped keep his house safe and warm. Inside, he swept the floor and tidied the kitchen. He wiped the table after his tea, keeping everything neat and clean. These chores weren't hard, but they made him feel busy and useful. He liked the neatness and quietness of his home. When he was done, He'd sit by the window again. Looking out at the white world, he felt proud. His house was ready for another winter day. When noon came, the old man made himself a simple lunch. It was usually a hot bowl of soup, made from vegetables he grew in his garden last summer. Sometimes, he'd also have some bread and a piece of cheese. It was a simple meal, but it filled him up and warmed him from the inside out. He ate slowly, enjoying every bite. The kitchen was quiet, but he didn't feel lonely. After eating, he turned on the radio. Gentle voices and soft music filled the room. The radio connected him to the outside world, reminding him that he wasn't alone. He listened to the weather forecast and local news. Sometimes a familiar song would play, and he would smile. The sounds from the radio made the winter day brighter, even when it was gray outside. After the news ended, he sat quietly for a bit. He looked out the window, watching the wind play with the snow. He felt peaceful and happy with his simple lunch and the familiar sound of the radio. After lunch, the old man put on his coat, scarf, and boots. He opened the door and stepped outside. The cold air touched his face, making his cheeks turn a little pink. Fresh snow covered yesterday's footprints. He walked slowly around his house, following his usual path. The snow crunched under his feet, and his breath made little clouds in the air. Sometimes, he would stop to watch a little bird, or look at the tree branches heavy with snow. The world outside was so quiet. He enjoyed the peace and the beauty around him. The winter sun was low, but it made the snow sparkle like tiny diamonds. He felt small in the big white world, but he wasn't scared at all. The quiet was gentle and friendly. After his walk, he stood for a moment, looking at his house. Smoke from the chimney went straight up into the sky. He was thankful for his warm home and the simple days passing by. As the afternoon turned into evening, it started to get dark. The old man went inside his house and turned on the lights. The soft light made his home feel even warmer and safer. He put more wood into the stove and listened to the crackling fire. He made a simple dinner, maybe a bowl of porridge or some boiled eggs. It was a light and quick meal, so he could have more time for quiet moments. After eating, he made another cup of tea and sat by the window. He watched the night come, and the snow outside turned a soft blue in the fading light.